Welcome into New Orleans Saints Now. I'm your host, Trace Gerard, and we have a lot to get into in today's show. First things first, we're going to break down the latest around Derek Carr. Then we're going to explore the Alvin Kamara news and some running back targets to potentially replace Alvin Kamara. But before we get to all that, I want to go ahead and remind every single one of you to subscribe to Saints Now. We're the number one spot for all your Saints news, Saints rumors, and Saints updates throughout the entire offseason. Lifelong Saints fan. We're trying to make Saints videos by Saints fans for Saints fans. Lock us in. Subscribe today. All right, as for the Derek Carr update, Mike Garafolo, he posted this right off the bat a little bit ago. We had to get into the studio, get to work, and get you guys some content. This is the update. The Jets are bringing in free agent Derek Carr for a visit this weekend. Sources say it'll be the second meeting with a team for Carr, who visited with the Saints prior to his release by the Raiders. Carr is in the process of evaluating all options now that he's a free agent. I expect this process to take a little bit of time. I don't think that this is going to be something that gets resolved and he doesn't get signed to a team, right off the bat or in the next coming days. But I expect over the next couple of weeks for it to pan out. It's interesting for the Jets as well because I know they're high on Aaron Rodgers, so we'll see how this all pans out. It's going to be interesting, but if you guys want Derek Carr in New Orleans, go down in the comment section and type DC. Let me know if you want Derek Carr by spamming DC in the comment section. I'm going to be down there doing the same thing. But as for Alvin Kamara, we have some news to get to, and it's not very good. It's not fun. Las Vegas, a grand jury has indicted Alvin Kamara on three others on the alleged beating that took place in Las Vegas over the Pro Bowl weekend in 2022. So from what we know, here's the legal situation. The charges that he's being faced with are conspiracy to commit battery and battery resulting in substantial bodily harm. We know that the guy who, the victim, he didn't look good. His face was busted up. It's not a pretty injury. It was not a pretty situation. The court date has been set for March 2nd in the Nevada District Court. This has been one of those things that it keeps getting postponed and postponed and postponed and postponed. He actually played throughout the 2022 season. He's likely facing a 6-game suspension. And there's reason to believe that he will be back with the Saints, where he will be serving that suspension after the legal process is played out. Here's what Kamara's attorneys had to say in the comment that they made. The NFL has not made a statement about it yet. They're waiting for the legal process, but here's what Kamara's attorney said. The state has avoided a contested preliminary hearing by indicting Mr. Kamara. He intends to vigorously fight the allegations at trial as he was defending himself and others at the time of the incident. But I want to just be real with y'all for a second. It's obvious that this is a very bad situation and this is an unfortunate thing that happened, and it's obviously you can't at all justify it. It's ridiculous. It's immature and it's childish. But can we stop acting like we didn't know this was going to happen? I saw all over Twitter people being like, "Oh my gosh, what's happening? It's over. We're screwed. He's never playing a game again, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Dude, relax." Like, we all knew he was going to get suspended at some point. We all knew he was going to have to, pay the piper on this situation at some point. And my take on all of this is, regardless of if Alvin Kamara had put himself in this situation or not, the Saints need running back depth, and they need to get younger and cheaper. And it's one of those things, you can go do that. This is a really good opportunity for you to do that. You have a lot of talented and a very deep running back draft class. You have quite a bit of interesting names hitting the free agent market. It's going to be an interesting offseason around the running back position as a whole, just entirely across the NFL. But I want you guys to let me know in the comment section, where should the Saints add running back depth? Type D for draft, type T for trade, or type F for free agency. It is the pinned comment, so let me know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you get hit with the YouTube ad break, take advantage of it and let me know. All right, now let's break down some running back targets that the Saints could explore in the draft, trades, and via free agency. And as I said earlier, the draft class and the free agency class specifically are loaded with talent. But in terms of the NFL draft, these are the three guys that I like the most. Bijan Robinson out of Texas, Tyjae Spears, the Louisiana kid from Tulane, and then Jahmyr Gibbs, the pass catcher from Alabama. And when you take a look at the stats that these three individuals put up, it's impressive. And these are the reasons why I love these guys. They are all incredibly talented athletes. They all can do a lot on the field. They all have the ability to change the game and change the offense when they have the ball in their hands. Bijan Robinson this year, 258 carries, 1,580 yards, 18 touchdowns on the ground. And then also not to mention in the air, 19 receptions, 314 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty solid, but Bijan Robinson is just an all-around phenomenal running back. I think he's probably the most talented all-around running back in this year's draft. Tyjae Spears he's my dude. If you've been watching this channel for more than a few days, you know he's my guy. 229 yards, 1,581 yards in the air, and 19 touchdowns. And also, this is why I love this kid. 22 receptions, 256 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, 151 carries, 926 yards, 7 touchdowns for the Crimson Tide. 44 receptions, 444 yards, 3 touchdowns. Overall, over the outside of these 3 guys, my pick is Tyjae Spears, without a doubt. When you take a look at the things that he does on the Tulane offense, he is a big reason why that team was so successful and found so much success, especially late in the season. Taking down the UFC Trojans in the Cotton Bowl, Tyjae Spears looked incredible. So I want you guys to let me know. Put yourself in the shoes of Mickey Loomis. Draft a running back for the New Orleans Saints. Type BR for Bijan Robinson, Type TS for Tyjae Spears, or type JG for Jahmyr Gibbs. All right, so next things next. We have 3 free agents that I think the Saints could go and sign, and it's Miles Sanders, Jamaal Williams, and David Montgomery. And I think that these are all talented running backs as well. So I think that Miles Sanders is a player that he's coming off a career year. He might command a lot of money. It might be expensive. Okay, but he's a talented running back. Had over 10 touchdowns this year. We'll get into the stats here in a second. Jamaal Williams. We all know if you want to piss like a puppy, stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat. Could you imagine that attitude in the boot? Could you imagine that attitude on the Saints offense? If you have that mindset on this team and in this city with this culture, it would thrive. And I have a very good feeling that I think the Lions might try to bring him back. He's a talented player. I think that it would be a lot of fun to have in New Orleans. David Montgomery, another guy that I think is an interesting name to watch. The Bears could look to bring him back, but they have a lot of money, so they could look to upgrade. They could look to try and make a splash trade. There's a lot of things that the Bears could do. But in terms of the stat comparison, Miles Sanders put up 259 carries, 1,269 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Jamaal Williams, he put up 262 yards, 1,066 yards, 17 touchdowns for the Lions. And David Montgomery, 201 carries, 801 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So if you think that the Saints need to add a running back, and I'm not just saying in the draft or in free agency, if you think they need to add a running back in general, hit the thumbs up icon and like this video. If we can get 200 likes on this video, I think that the Saints will know for a fact, let's go get our running back. So don't jinx it. Don't be the reason they don't make it happen. Hit the thumbs up icon and like the video. All right, last things last. Some trade targets, and I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Trace, Saquon and Josh Jacobs are free agents this year. What are you talking about? Well, here's the thing. If these teams are going to move on from Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs, I think they do that by tagging and trading him. Saquon Barkley is a phenomenal football player. He is going to be expensive, but he's a great talent. Everyone in the comments I've seen, every time I brought this up, the boom and zoom could come back, and Saquon Barkley would be in a phenomenal addition. Same situation with Josh Jacobs. He was the life and heartbeat and pulse of the Raiders' offense outside of Devontae Adams. Dalvin Cook. The Vikings are in a weird cap situation where they need to pay some of these guys like Justin Jefferson. They need to get ready to bring in some more talent. They have aging players. They need to gear up and start clearing up some cap space. Could they look to trade Dalvin Cook? When you take a look at the stats for this year, 295 yards for Saquon Barkley, 1,312 yards, 10 touchdowns on the ground. Josh Jacobs, 340 carries, 1,653 yards, 12 touchdowns. And for Dalvin Cook, 264 carries, 1,173 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Who Dat Nation, it's always a pleasure, but I want to get your gauge and your opinion. What running back do you want the Saints to add this offseason? It's always a pleasure. Who Dat Nation, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time.